I'm going to demonstrate how to graph the line of an equation. This one, the equation is y equals 2x plus 3. Its graph is represented by a straight line. Begin by drawing the axes. With arrows on both ends. And by labeling with the input variable and the output variable, whatever they might be, in this case x and y. I used a ruler to make those lines. We use rulers for all lines. Now I'm going to scale the axes. Number whatever happens to be there. If you make it too long, you can erase it and make it shorter. If you didn't make it long enough, you can erase the arrows, make it longer, and then put the arrows back on. Doesn't matter if you put the scale on the left or the right of the y-axis, whichever you prefer. It is generally standard, though, to put the scale below the x-axis. I've already done the work ahead of time to find 3 points that are on this graph, and the ones that I'm using are 0, 3 as the first one. So always starting at the origin. 0 tells you not to go right or left. 3 tells you to go up 3. Make a small dot. The next point is -5, -7. Again, place a small dot there. And the third point I'm using is -1, 1. Now when you line up the ruler, whoops, sorry about bumping that. Line it up with the crosshairs of the paper. Think of where the blue lines or whatever color lines you have on your graph paper cross. Think of those as being crosshairs, and the line has to go through that no matter where you place your dots. Now notice that my 3 points all line up in a perfectly straight line, and that's why we do 3 points, to have it check. Now you might have to offset your ruler a bit to accommodate the thickness of the pencil, but you want this to go through the crosshairs of those points, not just big dots, anywhere within big dots. That's why we make them small. The other thing is you can kind of eyeball this, and notice here to get from this point to this point there's 2 spaces down and 1 space over. Well, if you follow this down, 2 down, 1 over, 2 down, 1 over, you'll see that if I had used those points instead, my ruler is lined up with where they would be. Or 1 over and 2 up, 1 over and 2 up. The further apart your points are, the more accurate your line will be. And then draw in the line. Make it nice and long, filling in the whole Cartesian plane that you've drawn. I noticed here I went a little bit too long because I went into my directions, but you can always erase that. That's why we use pencils. And then somewhere near that line, write its equation. When we're interested in the graph of a line, we don't so much need the ordered pairs that it goes through, but we're more interested in the line itself and all of the points that are on that line. So it's not necessary, unless the directions tell you otherwise, to label all of the points that you've used. but make sure you label the line itself.